Channel open.
Research complete.
Alright, Nukenites, Group C time. It's going to be Pure versus Fantasy, a potentially deciding match for this entire group. This match right here might decide the group, who moves out into the round of 8. I'll discuss that a little bit inside the game, but yes, I think this will be a great matchup. There's the plane! I would make a joke about Vulture Terrorist Fantasy hijacking a plane or something, but I think that would be a bit in poor taste right now with the Polish catastrophe. My heart goes out to all my Polish Nukenites, and just lost the president and a lot of top military officials in a plane crash, so I can't even imagine what that would be like if that happened here. So hope you guys are doing okay. If you need a pick-me-up, just look at the shape of both these guys' heads. That should pick you right up, just looking at how goofy these guys look. But yes, Fantasy is up at the 2 o'clock position in blue, and down at the 8 o'clock position in red is Pure. Cross positions. And let me pull up my Who's Screwed, Who's Not So Screwed score sheet to give you an idea of how high stakes this matchup is. Okay, if Pure wins this match, it's decided. The entire group is decided, and Pure and Zero will move out, because they'll both have the necessary wins. The next matchup will be Fantasy versus Calm, and that wouldn't decide anything. And then the final one, Pure versus Zero, that wouldn't decide anything. We just have 2 wins in a 3 wins, so they both move out. So if Pure wins, nuclear launch detected right there. But if Fantasy wins, it's going to be a little bit different. He'll be tied 1-1 with Pure, and Zero will still be in a great position to move out, pretty much guaranteed to move out unless he gets caught in an upper rung tiebreaker with Pure and Fantasy. And Calm is not looking good in this group. 0-2, he's just not looking good at all. Yeesh, sorry Calm. But let's see, we're going to see a 12 Nexus here from Pure. And let's get some predictions. Let me switch over to another sheet of digital paper. Here's a prediction from Cheerios and Checks. Writes, I've been wrong for 2 OSLs in a row, but I'm sure this is Fantasy's OSL. Quote me on it. Okay, you're quoted. Fantasy, don't make me shed pathetic fanboy tears for a 3rd time, please. If Fantasy loses, baby will take it all. So at least you have a backup plan. Okay. Yep, 12 Nexus, very strong build. And at Fantasy, he used to be known for very good versus Protoss. I guess he still is known for that. His style against Protoss, very vulture heavy, very drop heavy, and it ends up working well for economic harassment. But really, most Terran players are kind of backed into Flash's style of play, which is more defensive, conservative play. You're able to take more bases, and you have more tanks out on the ground than Fantasy's type of build gives you. But here is another prediction from Pun Punish. Writes, after his disappointing play in the last OSL, Fantasy was dead to me. But he got better. He's back, and he's ready to kick ass all the way to the finals for a TVT of mechanics versus innovation. I guess he's talking about Flash there. Go Fantasy! Oh, is that Zero? I hope not. Looks like Zero's sister in the audience. Yikes. Okay, so here's another one from Blue Sunset 2202. Writes, Go Fantasy! I hope so much for him! Keep on hoping, clap your hands if you believe. But Fantasy only mining with 1 SCV, going out with a couple of initial Marines. Maybe he's trying to find that probe, but Pure actually hasn't sent out a scout yet, curiously enough. He didn't go out to scout at all. Now he is sending out his probe to get the scout. So Fantasy going to find that probe coming up. And he sees the Zealot down here too, so the Zealot going to try to go in and get a little bit of pressure done. Since Fantasy is expanding, he might have a little bit of a hard time fighting this back. He's going to have to fight back with Vulture Micro, which he loves to do anyway. Vulture Micro. Fantasy's Vulture Micro is undisputably the best in the entire thing. What the hell was that? Yeah. Yes, nod. And okay, so here comes Dragoon range. For Pure, getting up that Dragoon range, a very strong econ build from him, so he's going to be economically ahead of Fantasy, at least for a little while. But I don't see any Dragoons out, so Fantasy, if he gets the right Vulture Micro, he might be able to break by and maybe get a probe kill or two. But looks like he isn't pushing his luck just yet, though. Might be waiting for an upgrade before he decides to do this. But now the first Dragoon is out, so expect that Dragoon to get the job done and fight back that pesky Vulture. Okay, what else is Pure going for? And yeah, with the 12 Nexus, I've seen a lot of Terran players complaining about 12 Nexus before on various forums. Idra, namely the US Pro, always complains about 12 Nexus. He says it's basically an automatic win. I wouldn't go that far. If you get the right harassment done, you can definitely whittle down the advantage of a 12 Nexus. Let's see what Pure is up to, trying to get rid of that Scout. But Fantasy trying to sneak in on this Vulture. He does get by with this Vulture. Oh, Pure left a hole in the defenses, and now Fantasy's probably going to be able to pick off a couple of probes. Picks off one, and the Dragoon is going to be the only thing that's going to get rid of this Vulture. So 3 probe kills, more than Pure would have wanted. So a little bit of a fumble from him, and he can't let that happen again. Don't let Fantasy Vultures into your bases. Keep them out at all costs. I remember Fantasy's game against Stork on Outsider last season. I think it was last season. But I remember Stork using his observatory and many buildings to block off access to his main so that Vultures wouldn't be able to run in. I gotta think creatively there, Pure. Don't let these freaking Vultures in. Fantasy getting a pretty sizable force out there. He's just going to try to guard against a Scout. Because if Pure sends up a probe to get the Scout, he's just going to run into a lot of troops there. He's not going to get anything done. Now Pure is taking his third base. Fantasy actually going out, got some star sense. He's going to see this with his Vulture and be able to take out that probe. So I don't think this base is going to come up. Unless Pure can react very, very quickly. No, not reacting in time. So I have to send out another probe. And Fantasy, if he keeps his Vulture in here, is going to be able to intercept any more probes that come up. So this is going to be a little bit difficult for Pure. Fantasy laying a trap. Laying a trap. Oh, man. But at least Pure is in the know. He has his pylon there, and he can see those mines coming down. But okay, he does have his first observer out. Going for a Stargate already off of 2 bases. I guess maybe he was working towards that third base, hoping he can get that third up. But it looks like the Stargate just now came down, so it looks like he's switching to this anyway. Very interested to see what this... Oh, Pure, no. A mine drag this early is so horrible. And they hit both Dragoons, so shield damage on one, but the other one got very badly damaged. I'm not quite sure what was up with that. I know he had an observer going out into the map. I'm not sure where that first observer went. Maybe it's by the base of Fantasies. But there is one observer in... Oh, Pure. At least he didn't lose those Dragoons. That could have been very bad. At least he can recharge a little bit of his shield. But he's got to fiddle around with these freaking tanks soon. Oh, there's a lot of tanks in for Fantasy. If Fantasy pushes the natural right now with what he has, he might be able to get a contain on. Because he has plenty of tanks to do this. He's coming in with reinforcement tanks. Going to try to get the surround probably with mines of those Dragoons. Very powerful army out on the ground for Fantasy, and he's denying the third base even longer. So Fantasy is doing pretty well at this point, denying this base and taking down this pylon. Pure, no! Another mine drags in. Pure, he's got to get on top of this game. Come on, Pure. Escort those Dragoons around with observers. Oh man, so he tracks another mine, and this is exactly what Fantasy wants. He wants Pure to fall right into his mine traps, and now he's going to get a pincer attack of sorts with his tanks at the back. Pure, I don't think he was ready for this. He has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Fantasy getting in the surround with mines. Ridiculous play, taking out all of the Dragoons. Wonderful, wonderful play there from Fantasy, and now he's just going to back off. He's probably snickering inside, like, and now I can just go back and wait and macro up and he'll be okay, because now he has very much shaved away the initial advance of that second base, the 12 Nexus build. So now the 12 o'clock base coming up for Fantasy. He's going to prepare a lot more factories soon. Oh, this mine play is just Pure just can't seem to handle it. He's got to pay attention to snipe those mines.